All right, today we're going to be talking about fixing a glider that has too much dihedral in it. All right, this is the glider that has too much dihedral in it. All right, and how you can see this, they're both on their undersurface, lying flat on their undersurface. All right, if I go to move this glider, you'll see that there's very little movement in that. All right, and that's the amount of dihedral that's built into the wing. This one here has an awful lot of movement in it. It's rocking on the center section, which means it has an excessive amount of dihedral in it. That excessive amount of dihedral will cut the performance dramatically in the glider. The amount of dihedral that's supposed to be in the glider is already cut into the wing. All right, I want to show you how much extra dihedral it's got. Okay, right about there. If you can see that, it's really somewhere close to a ½ inch right to the end. In the center section, I'm measuring it, or a ½ inch to an inch. I can't see it exactly, but you can see it has an excessive amount of dihedral into it. That should be flat. All right. This glider here, for demonstration purposes, doesn't have the alevins on it, and if I put the level on this from the center section, it's flat. All right, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Another way of demonstrating it is I'm going to turn it over onto its lower surface, or its upper surface. I'll take this one and turn it also onto its upper surface. And I understand it's got a little bit of extra because of the fact the alevins are folded up onto the upper surface. But if I take my fingers, I can slide them underneath the center section very easily. All right. Even if I press down quite a bit, I can still barely get my fingers underneath there. And my fingers are not going to fit underneath this. All right. If I look, it might be like 1/8 of an inch or something there. Okay. But if I press down just slightly, the whole trailing edge is flat. In the directions, when putting a spar in, it's very important after you put the glue on the spar, put the spar in your glider, okay, to sight down the trailing edge and make sure that it's flat. All right, it's not bowing this way, which is dihedral, or it's not bowing this way, which is anhedral. Okay, the trailing edge is flat. All right, after putting the spar in, okay, if you see that it's got dihedral in it, or anhedral means the glider's bowed down this way towards the lower surface. Dihedral is just bowed up. Okay, this is dihedral, this is anhedral. We don't want any of that. We want the trailing edge to be perfectly flat. All right. Now, when you put the spar in order to get it flat, you put the spar in equally from one end to the other with a glue on it. If you use Gorilla Glue, it'll give you plenty of time, okay, or 30-minute epoxy. Do not attempt to use 5-minute epoxy. It will not give you the time that it requires to get the spar in correctly. So you put the spar in, you look at it, it's even from one end to the other, and then you sight down it, okay? If it's not equal, you can take the glider and flex it a little bit this way on the lower surface, or flex it a little bit on the upper surface, and then sight it again until you have that perfectly flat. All right, it's a straight line. And then you can see that it lies flat like that, and that's when you put a little weight on the glider like so, and let the spar with the glue on it harden. Okay. Generally, I'm not sure. You'll have to read the directions on the Gorilla Glue. There's 2X, which dries faster, and then there's a regular Gorilla Glue. But you want to make sure that you leave that process long enough where, while you're working on the glider, you're not able to flex the straight trailing edge back out of it. Okay, give that time. Okay. Now, to fix, if you've already have your glider fully done, you've been flying it, for some reason, all of a sudden you discover, like this one, that it has way too much dihedral in it. The way you fix that, I'm going to flip the alevins back up here, okay, is you cut yourself a piece of tape longer than the length of the wingspan, okay, at the, you're going to have to do it just behind the throw hole here is about the best place to get it so you can take the dihedral back out of it. All right, now I've already cut a piece of tape. Okay, and I just messed the piece of tape up. Great. And I doubt that I'm going to get that out of there. No, I'm not. So, I'm going to shut this off for a second. Let me cut another piece of tape, and I'll turn it back on.